In 1980, a stranger with a false name paid cash to build a monument no one asked for, 19 feet tall, astronomically aligned, and carved with rules for humanity's survival. Locals called it America's Stonehenge, but the rest of the world called it something else. A roadmap for the New World Order. This is the story of the Georgia Guidestones, the world's strangest and most terrifying mystery. 1. Mysterious origins. In the quiet countryside of Elbert County, Georgia, something extraordinary appeared in 1980. Towering granite slabs, arranged in a precise and deliberate pattern, suddenly rose from the red soil. They weren't placed there by the county, nor by any group seeking public attention. Instead, they were commissioned by a man who called himself R.C. Christian. But here's the catch: nobody knows who he really was. He approached a local granite company with an almost impossible order: construct a massive stone monument with cryptic messages carved in multiple languages. He paid in cash, left strict instructions, and demanded total secrecy. The company obeyed, and when the monument was completed, Christian vanished into history, ever to be seen or heard from again. The pseudonym itself sent chills down researchers' spines. Was it a reference to Christian Rosencreuz, the mythical founder of the secretive Rosicrucian order? Or was it just a cover identity designed to hide something far bigger? The fact that no one ever claimed credit, no group admitted involvement, and the money trail vanished left only one conclusion: this monument was built by people who wanted to remain hidden. The secrecy alone has fueled theories linking it to the Illuminati, Freemasons, or other globalist organizations who supposedly pull the strings of world power. The strange anonymity of its origins is perhaps what made the Guidestones so unsettling. Who builds something so grand, spends so much money, and then disappears? Most monuments are built for fame, remembrance, or recognition. But the Georgia Guidestones were different. They weren't built to honor the past, they seemed designed to shape the future. And the question has haunted everyone ever since: whose future were they trying to shape? 2. The 10 guiding principles carved into the Guidestones were 10 strange, almost prophetic rules. These were not instructions for the present, they were a blueprint for the future. Written in 8 major world languages, the messages were designed to be understood by virtually anyone on Earth. But what they said has shocked, disturbed, and even terrified people for decades. The very first commandment read, "Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature." Immediately, this set off alarm bells. In 1980, the world's population was already over 4 billion. Today, it's over 8 billion. To reduce that number to 500 million would mean a staggering 90% of humanity gone. Was this a warning for the future, or a chilling plan for global depopulation? Other rules called for a single world language, a unified world court, and guiding humanity with reason rather than faith. On the surface, some of these ideas sound noble: harmony with nature, fair governance, and seeking truth. But read between the lines, and it seems like the dismantling of religion, the destruction of cultural diversity, and the creation of a centralized, global authority. The inscriptions spoke of balancing personal rights with social duties, avoiding petty laws, and leaving room for nature. Again, the words could be interpreted as wise advice or as a strict code of control over human freedom. For many, these guiding principles represented nothing short of a manifesto for the New World Order. They didn't read like friendly suggestions. They read like commandments handed down by elites who believed they had the right to decide humanity's destiny. And that's why, to this day, the messages etched in stone continue to spark debate. Were they instructions to save humanity, or a plan to rule it? 3. Alignment and astronomical features. If the inscriptions weren't mysterious enough, the structure itself was even stranger. The Guidestones weren't randomly arranged. They were built with incredible precision, rivaling ancient monuments like Stonehenge or the pyramids. The granite slabs stood 19 feet tall and were arranged to line up with key astronomical events. One of the stones had a hole drilled through it, always pointing directly at the North Star, Polaris. Another slot was carved so that the rising sun would shine through it perfectly during the summer and winter solstices, as well as the spring and autumn equinoxes. A small hole in the capstone allowed a beam of sunlight to mark the date and time each day, functioning almost like a sundial and calendar combined. This level of detail raises chilling questions. Whoever designed the Guidestones wasn't just building a monument, they were constructing a survival tool. If the modern world were ever destroyed, this structure could serve as a compass, calendar, and guiding manual for the survivors. It wasn't just stone, it was a doomsday clock and instruction manual for rebuilding civilization. But why in Georgia? Why not in Washington, D.C., London, or some global hub of power? Some theorists believe its location was chosen because Elberton was rich in granite and away from major cities, making it the perfect place to build a monument designed to withstand catastrophic events. Others suggest it was strategically placed to mark a safe zone for a post-apocalyptic future. The astronomical alignments add to the eerie sense that the Guidestones were designed with a higher purpose. These weren't random rocks, they were calibrated instruments, and whoever built them wasn't just thinking about today or tomorrow. They were thinking about a future where humanity might have to start over, from scratch. For connection to the New World Order, the term New World Order has been tied to the Guidestones almost from the very beginning. The very ideas inscribed on them, population control, a single world language, centralized governance, read like the ultimate wish list of globalist elites. For many conspiracy theorists, this wasn't coincidence, it was confirmation. When the words "maintain humanity under 500 million" were first revealed, many immediately connected it to fears of mass depopulation. Was this monument simply warning humanity, or was it laying out a plan that powerful groups secretly intended to carry out? After all, if the world's population were reduced to such a small number, it would be far easier for a small elite group to control the rest. The idea of a universal language also seems suspicious. While unity might sound positive, it could also erase cultural and national identities, making humanity easier to govern as one giant collective. A world court to judge nations sounded like the end of sovereignty. No more independence, only global control. The secrecy of its construction only added fuel to the fire. If this was a project for the good of humanity, why hide? Why use pseudonyms and cover identities? Why not proudly declare the benefactor's name? Unless, of course, the builders didn't want to be known because they already had too much power in the shadows. Over time, many researchers linked the Guidestones to the Illuminati, the Freemasons, or shadowy globalist organizations like the Bilderberg Group. Whether true or not, the monument came to embody the greatest fears of those who believed in the existence of a hidden elite, an elite that wanted not just to influence the world, but to completely reshape it. 5. Public controversy and opposition. From the moment they were unveiled, the Georgia Guidestones were surrounded by suspicion, fear, and outrage. Locals gave them nicknames like America's Stonehenge or Satan's Monument. Tourists came to marvel at their mysterious inscriptions, but many nearby residents viewed them as dangerous, even evil. Religious groups were among the loudest critics. To them, the Guidestones were a direct attack on Christianity. The first commandment about reducing humanity to 500 million was seen as nothing less than genocidal. The idea of replacing faith with reason was read as a rejection of God, and the call for one global order sounded to many like the rise of the Antichrist. The monument was frequently defaced with graffiti. Words like "death to the New World Order" and "God will destroy this evil" were spray-painted across the stones. At one point, the monument was even doused in paint and chipped away by vandals. Every act of defacement revealed how deeply people distrusted its message. Even politicians got involved. Some local officials campaigned for the Guidestones to be torn down, calling them a symbol of Satanism and globalist tyranny. To others, they were simply a strange tourist attraction, but even that brought unease. People didn't just see stone, they saw a warning, a prophecy, or perhaps a declaration of intent. What made the controversy so powerful was that nobody knew the truth. The monument's mystery made it a perfect mirror. People projected their deepest fears and suspicions onto it. For some, it was a harmless curiosity. For others, it was proof of an evil agenda. And for decades, it stood as a lightning rod for debate between skeptics, believers, and those who saw danger lurking in its shadow. 6. Destruction of the Guidestones. On July 6, 2022, at 4 a.m., an explosion shattered the silence of Elbert County. Security cameras captured the moment a bomb ripped through one of the Guidestones, reducing a massive slab to rubble. The once mighty monument, standing tall for over 40 years, was fatally wounded. Later that day, authorities demolished the remaining stones for safety. Just like that, the Guidestones were gone forever. The attack shocked the world, but it also raised a storm of questions. Who destroyed them, and why? Some celebrated the act, claiming it was divine justice against a monument of evil. Others condemned it, saying the destruction erased a vital piece of history. But among conspiracy theorists, suspicion immediately turned towards something darker. Was this an inside job? Theories spread like wildfire. Some believed a monument was destroyed to cover up evidence that the Guidestones were more than just stone, and that something was hidden beneath them or encoded within their measurements. Others argued the timing was symbolic. July 6, 2022, exactly 42 years after their unveiling, as if part of a ritual. The demolition didn't end the mystery, it deepened it. By removing the monument, authorities unintentionally fueled speculation. If the stones were so meaningless, why not preserve what was left? Why erase them completely? In death, the Guidestones became even more powerful. Their destruction was seen by some as the silencing of truth, a final attempt to hide the New World Order's blueprint. For others, it was the victory of people who refused to accept control from the shadows. But no matter how you look at it, the bombing ensured one thing: the Guidestones would never be forgotten. 7. Legacy and ongoing mystery. Even though the Georgia Guidestones no longer stand, their legacy is stronger than ever. In their absence, the mystery has only grown. To some, the stones were nothing more than a quirky monument with strange ideas. To others, they were a warning to future generations, and for many, they were a chilling declaration from the world's hidden rulers. The monument continues to inspire debate, documentaries, books, and endless speculation online. Were the Guidestones really the Illuminati's Stonehenge-coded message left for those who survive an apocalyptic event? Or were they simply the dream of an eccentric man who wanted to encourage humanity to live in balance with nature? The truth may never be known. The identity of R.C. Christian remains a mystery. The benefactors remain anonymous. The ideas carved into stone still haunt discussions about population, governance, and human survival. In a world where conspiracy theories thrive, the Guidestones stand as one of the greatest unsolved puzzles of modern times. What's certain is that their influence hasn't died with their destruction. If anything, the Guidestones now live on as a legend. They have become a symbol of both fear and fascination: fear of an elite-controlled future, and fascination with the possibility of hidden knowledge. In the end, the Georgia Guidestones may not have been just a monument. They may have been a mirror, reflecting humanity's hopes, fears, and suspicions about the world to come. And now that they're gone, all we're left with are the questions, and the unsettling feeling that whoever built them may still be out there, watching and waiting for the future they so carefully carved into stone.